Hello and welcome to Turf and Touchdowns and Melting. It is a heatwave in the UK at the moment. Myself and Tom are barely surviving. And before you start, you're from America. We get it. It's hot over there. It's a different hot in the UK. And we haven't got AC everywhere as well. So cut us some slack. One thing I will say, Tom, when American people come to England in a heatwave, they do realise that it's way worse here.
It is abysmal right now. I mean, everyone likes hot weather, don't get me wrong, but this is just too hot. I've literally been sat on the sofa for the last hour, just chilling, watching a bit of Glastonbury highlights. Then I've gone to get ready, just dressed, and I'm sat here, done no physical exercise whatsoever. I am dripping, mate. My whole forearm is wet. When do forearms get wet?
Yeah, well, with me every single day of my life. But I had a hat on a second ago, hence why the hair might be a bit weird. It was too hot for a hat. Not enough heat was getting out of my head, so we've ditched the hat and we're just going forward like this. You posed to me as like someone who would like Glastonbury, like you would like to go.
Yeah, I like festivals. I'm a festival kind of person. I haven't been for a while, but I like music, so yeah, it's a bit of me, bit of downtime, isn't it?
I couldn't think of anything worse.
Really,
I'm gonna be like I'm a bit of a princess,
bit.
so I need to have a shower at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's very fair. I think. Well, there are showers there now. You do have to queue up, but there are showers.
Yeah, I know, but look at it.
Yeah.
Like, come on, gross. But if
with
you
your
want to be dirty,
with your
that's
sweaty forearms, mate, you need those showers.
exactly, literally, it's whatever, it's fine. But if you want to be nasty, then that's absolutely fine by me. I'm going to have a shower. But we are looking at Grade 1 action this week, and also the added incentive of European interest on the Grade 1 action as well. We're looking at the Grade 1 Belmont Derby. I've missed these sorts of races, Tom. It's something that gives interest to literally everybody that is involved in horse racing.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, if you're in the US and love racing anyway, you're going to be tuning into races like this. But people in Europe will be having an extra bit of interest in the contest because not only have we got a horse in Luther who does represent an English trainer in Charlie Fellows, but we've got Frankie Dettori, a bit of a European factor, and we've got Oisin Murphy going across to ride the favourite New Century. So, yeah, this is a really intriguing race. It's very different to the race we talked about last week. And by the way, you're coming in off the back of a winner, so very well done.
I am. I had a good mind frame last week, but there was one point, there was one slight point where I thought, oh, not Mystic Dan again.
He got
Like,
the same trip every single time at Churchill. He somehow gets the rail when the gap opens. It's crazy.
I don't, I'm not sure that Brian Hernandez knows that he can go outside
No.
on Mystic Dan. It's like every time the commentary, and he did it again. It's like, okay, right, you can go somewhere else, Mystic Dan. It's fine if you like it there, but you can go somewhere else. I'm going to do something that Tom doesn't know we're doing in this podcast yet, because this podcast is brought to you by Iron Horse Stallions, the home of plenty of now top class individuals from Bucara, the likes of Queen Maxima, Bookham Dano, who could well be Breeders' Cup bound, and we hope this weekend we're going to see Mattingly as well in Stakes Company. Go check the guys out on Iron Horse Stallions. We'll leave the link down below for you guys. They are fantastic. They run their business very well, and they're now based in New York. Is
We got.
that
I mean, we got a sponsor. That's good. That's money in the
what?
coffers.
What did you make of the New York accent?
It was fair to reasonable. No better.
I'm going to take that. Harlan Malta, who is one of the I was going to say smart guys, but I don't know if that's right. He's one of the guys that runs it. He's like he's spent most of his life out in New York, so I'm looking forward to the feedback on that. But who cares? Who cares? Right, let's take a look at the Belmont Derby because don't make the mistake that I first did. Because in this heat, I looked at Belmont the Big A, thinking, "Why is this race not here?" It's a Saratoga. It's completely different. Charlie Fellows do not send Luther to actual Belmont the Big A because we're going to Saratoga. But it's a very good race. And importantly, Tom, we've got an international market. New Century is 2-1. Luther's 9-2. Tank is 6-1. Test Score is 6-1. Early Adopter Sevens. Final Gambit 8-1. World Beater 12-1. Flying Mohawk at 20-1. Welcome to the part of the show where myself and Tom complain about how bad a job whoever's priced up this race has done. Because we say it a lot, Tom. This is a real horror show of a market.
It is. Normally, we are complaining about the morning lines in the US, to be fair, and then kind of saying the international market has copied that and got it wrong, and everyone's just done a terrible job. This time, there is no morning line at the stage of recording. We're recording this on Tuesday morning UK time, which will be very early Tuesday morning US time. David Aragona hasn't done the prices yet for Friday's card, the morning line prices. So the Bet365, which is the company that have done this, the trader, has kind of got it wrong again, but by themselves this time. I think New Century is the right favourite, albeit at a very short price here. There are a couple of horses here that are just completely wrong. I mean, Tank 6-1 or 11-2, that is wrong. Test Score 6-1, that's wrong. And Final Gambit 8-1, again, that is wrong. So there's a lot of value. If you're watching this earlier in the week, maybe Tuesday evening, when hopefully this goes live, Wednesday-ish, those prices still should remain roughly the same. I'd be looking to try and grab some value here.
Yeah, there's loads of it. I mean, Luther's a horrible price at 9-2 as well. I think he should be way bigger than that. Test score, a little shorter, not too crazy on test score, but these prices have changed from what they were first put in. I think Final Gambit was initially at 12-1. But we'll start with New Century. We've had the news come out, obviously, with everything going on, that Sheen Murphy will go over to ride at Saratoga for Brendan Walsh, obviously in the Qatar Racing colours. We both think he should be favourite. Maybe not 2-1. Honestly, I was looking more 5-2, 11-4 for the New Century, but he's a horse that absolutely should be respected here.
Yeah, he definitely should be respected. Even if he is a 2-1 shot in this race, I think other horses should be closer to him in the market rather than such a disparity between him and the rest of the field. 2-1 and then 9-2. Big gap in the market. He has to be respected. He's a very talented horse. Last year, he won 2 races in the UK before going over to the US, and his couple of US runs as a 2-year-old were very strong. He went to the Summer Stakes at Woodbine. I thought he ran exceptionally well there. Then he ran in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf and ran a good 4th coming from off the speed. He just looked like a pretty good 2-year-old. And sometimes those 2-year-olds that do take in the Breeders' Cup from Europe don't then progress into 3-year-olds. But I thought his run in the American Turf was pretty strong. He got a bad ride that day. He was held up out the back, weaved through, eventually finished 3rd. It was a good performance, and on that basis, he deserves to be your favourite. The question here is, there isn't much speed signed on in this race, I don't think. Tank is going to go forward, and we'll talk about him in due course. But there doesn't seem to be that many other forward-going types. Flying Mohawk has tactical speed, so does Test Score, but neither want to be on the front. So for a horse like New Century, he's going to be coming from way off the speed. He's going to have to quicken into a quickening pace and pass all the horses in front of him. Ashim Murphy's going to have a tough task as well because he doesn't have a good strike rate at Saratoga whenever he goes over. I think he's 0 from 7 in the last 12 months. Obviously, very small sample size, but still. And he rode one horse last year. Can't remember who it was, but it was a European horse where he should have won. And he got it all wrong. So I don't want to be taking a short price about New Century, but he's the horse to beat.
Was that the Irish horse?
It was the Stack horse, yes.
Yeah, Fozzie Stacks. I cannot remember the name. Alpine Princess?
Not sure. I can't remember.
No, whatever it was a Stack horse. I remember the one you're thinking of.
Yeah.
I kind of think Frankie might try and go forward in this because Frankie might fancy himself a little bit, and that's what he does, and he does it very well. He's on board Flying Mohawk. Quiz time, Tom. Your favourite part of the show. 11 runnings of this race since it changed from the Jamaica Handicap. Europeans have won it twice. Who are the two?
Bolshoi Ballet.
Yeah.
I don't know the other one. I'm not sure.
I backed him for the Derby as a 2-year-old. Ran in the Fitchery Hay colours.
No.
Came second in the Dante behind Wings of Eagles. No, Wings of Desire. Wings of Desire.
It's the Aidan O'Brien horse.
Named after a French racecourse.
Bear with me. Deauville.
There we go. My next clue was he's called Deauville. But yeah, they are the two. Other than that, in fairness, this is a race year in, year out that's won by very good horses. I mean, Trickery last year, Far Bridge, Classic Causeway. I know things didn't work out perfectly for him afterwards, but he was still a very talented 3-year-old. Gufo was in there as well. Generally, this goes to a real good horse, but it's one where the others are going to have to try and step up. We've taken a look at New Century. We'll do the next in the betting because Luther's in here as well. This is another of the Europeans that are coming over. I'm going to be honest, Tom, I don't like his chances at all. I love that Charlie Fellows is thinking outside of the box. He's having a go at it. Kieran Schumacher's going over to ride. He ran a shocker in the French Derby, albeit that wasn't his running. He ran okay in the French Guineas, but he needs a lot more here.
Yeah, he does. As you say, I love the fact that Charlie Feathers is targeting this race, and I love that Kieran Schumacher could have that story. Obviously, he's had a very tumultuous last 12 months, ups and downs, mainly downs, regarding his situation with the Gosdens and a couple of rides as well. But um, I feel like Kieran Schumacher's now developing this cult on social media that are really plumping for him and want him to succeed. Obviously, you have the people that want to bring you down, but everyone has that. So it would be great if Kieran Schumacher could win this race, and obviously fantastic for Charlie as well. I just feel like he needs to improve. If you go back to that Guineas run, the French Guineas, I thought he ran very well. And
Mhm.
last time, maybe he just didn't stay in the French Derby. I'm not too sure. He has tactical speed, but he doesn't have great gate speed. So I'm not quite sure where he's going to end up in this race in the early part. And to be honest with you, I don't think he's got the best turn of foot in here. 9-2 seems quite skinny about this horse. However, I'm going to be rooting for him as a neutral. Obviously, I'll have my bets in the race, but as a neutral, if he wins, I'll be pretty happy.
Yeah, exactly. We cheer on all European horses that go over just because it feels like they're part of our team. Luther has actually raced against New Century before. They met each other in the Stonehenge Stakes at Salisbury back in August of last year, obviously as a 2-year-old, but they're only separated by half a length. I just get the feeling that America brings out the best in New Century. Look, it might bring out the best in Luther. We don't know yet, but we can't just assume that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I was actually going to mention that form line, I forgot. But yeah, New Century has proven himself in America, North America, Canada, and the US. Whereas Luther's never been over there. I think faster ground suits New Century more than it does Luther. So yeah, I'd be veering towards New Century out of the pair for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree. Regards to the others, we're getting into the American horses now. I mean, Tank is a horse that, I mean, the market has put him in at 6-1. I think that's one of the worst prices in the race. He should almost be outside of the field for me. Not quite, but towards that way. He's ran some good figures at Gulfstream Park, but that form is nowhere near good enough for this race.
No, he won't win. I would never say that usually, but at this price, I would literally prefer to bet every other horse in this race than Tank. He'll be on the front, and the only chance he has is if Louis Sires can just steal it, going slow up top and then kicking clear. But his victories at Gulfstream have been in minor stakes races and also against Florida breds. He now faces Open Company and goes up to Saratoga, much tougher, especially to make the running on turf. Gulfstream is so front runner biased, especially on the grass, that when you get on the lead and you're not going too quick, you have a phenomenal chance. It's not the same at Saratoga, albeit it can be if they go slow. I don't think, regardless of the pace here, I don't think Tank is going to win this race. And I would not bet him at any price under 12-1. So his current price to me is extremely short.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think he's very much towards the shorter side at 6-1. He should be a lot bigger than that. But if he does get a freebie, maybe he could run a bit further into the race than we've given credit for. Test Score is a horse that ran in the American turf last time at Churchill, was one place ahead of New Century. Doesn't quite tell the whole story. New Century had to come from a fair way further back than Test Score, but sitting closer to the pace here for Test Score should be a big advantage.
Yeah, exactly. He's got the tactical speed to sit in that second or third slot, which is going to be very helpful in a race like this. He's also a horse that I've got a big passion for. I love this horse. I followed him throughout his career. I bet him at Keeneland when he broke his maiden. I then bet him in the Transylvania when he won as well. He was a huge price that day. I think 14s and went off around 8s. I also bet him at Gulfstream Park earlier this year when he finished third. He should have won that race, but he just wasn't suited by Gulfstream. And also, he got a terrible passage in the home straight. Every time he tried to move out to get a clear run, the horse in front of him also moved out into his path, which was extremely frustrating to watch. But last time, as you say, he beat New Century. I think New Century was the better horse out of the two in that contest, and that's why I'm saying that New Century should be favourite in this race. But I don't think the discrepancy between New Century's price and Test Score's price, 9-4 and 6-1, is correct. I think they should be a lot closer in the market, and for that reason, Test Score would be a better bet to me than New Century.
Yeah, it's even bigger than that, 2-1 and 6-1. I agree with you. The prices are wrong, and the price is what makes Test Score interesting in this. I think you also bet him, didn't you, at Del Mar on the undercard for the
I
Breeders'
did,
Cup?
yeah.
I can't remember who I backed in that. Who won that race?
I think, did you back Chasing Liberty?
Oh, yeah, the winner. Yeah, I did back the winner. Yeah, that's right. That you walked straight into that. That was like a glass door in front of you. Yeah, no,
I,
I did back the winner.
I was just giving you the credit, that was all.
I tell you, I was getting back to the car from a day at Disney
Oh, nice
and put
life
it
you lead.
put up. Yeah, not anymore. Not anymore. Not anymore. But whatever. That was test score. I was having a conversation with Ross Briley the other day, who you've worked with as well, Ross Briley. all round funny person, and very good horse racing broadcaster. We it was getting towards the end of our shift on like a 9 hour day, and myself and my partner Jasmine had been watching a YouTube video a few days prior. How many grapes do you think you could eat in 1 minute?
Mate, where has this come from?
It's just a very interesting point.
I'll go.
And
I'll go for 60. Why not? One a second.
what, are you willing to do a video?
Absolutely not. No.
Because Ross Brierley, his initial like number was
Yeah,
120.
that's crazy. Is he just swallowing them whole?
Well, he then did do a video. Like he ran to Sainsbury's, he got some grapes, and he could see after about three, he's like, I've really miscalculated here. But the world record is 87.
Is it? Okay, I think my 60 is a fair shout.
If you can get 60, I will give you. I don't know what I'll give you. I'll give you something nice.
Okay. What do you think's fair? Mate, we need to move on with this.
Well, I mean, I've done it.
Oh, go on.
28.
Okay, maybe 60 is just reaching.
Ross got 28. Jasmine got 26.
Okay, 60 is reaching.
Everyone at home, please let us know what you think your number will be. And if you could actually do it and let us know, that'd be great. That's been something that's been on my mind for like a week now. Let's move back to horse racing. And to early adopter, I think this is one of the horses in the race that we're going to disagree on. He's out to 7-1 now. He's a horse that's actually got bigger in the market, but early adopter's a talented individual. Chad Brown teaming up with Jose Ortiz. Rarely would you have those two combined with any horse and for it to be 7-1.
Yeah, exactly. Jose Ortiz is riding better than anyone at the moment. Chad Brown at Saratoga, extremely lethal, will probably win the trainer's title. So with those two together, you've got a big tick in the box of early adopter. Last time I thought he was very disappointing. He had no excuse whatsoever and finished behind World Beater, who reopposes. But prior to that, he was very impressive. It depends what early adopter turns up in this race. I think his price is slightly too big, but equally, I prefer a couple of others in here. And you know what's most interesting about this horse? Chad Brown, who trains him, has never won the Belmont Derby. How is that even possible? Chad just dominates these 3-year-old turf races, more so with fillies and mares, but also with the colts. So I'm so surprised that he's not won this race. Maybe he won't win it this year either, but I think early adopter definitely comes into the reckoning.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not so much a fan. I think if he was not, if he wasn't trained by Chad Brown, he'd be a much bigger price than he is in this race. I don't really think he should be a bigger price than World Beater. Or sorry, shorter price than World Beater. They are 7-1 and 12-1 at the moment. We'll just quickly look at World Beater because he won that race last time around over at Churchill, which looked a decent race. Tomasello for Iron Horse Racing, part of the guys that sponsored the podcast, he was back in third and he led the race. Honestly, Tomasello in this race will be welcomed because he'd add a bit of pace into this contest. But World Beater's got to do a lot more, as has the Chad Brown winner.
Yeah, he's very similar to early adopter, in my view, when I'm analysing this race. Seems to be improving at least, and Riley Mott is an underrated trainer. But for me, there are a couple of others that have stronger profiles. Maybe World Beater could take that step forward, but it is literally a maybe. You'd be betting on an if rather than a guarantee.
Final Gambit is next. I think this is the horse that we both feel is the stupidest price because he's 8-1. He was 12-1 earlier on in the week, so clearly we're not the only ones that think that. But the gamble that you're taking with Final Gambit is that he's running on turf again. He's only run on turf once. That was when third on debut. And you could think, well, that doesn't sound that impressive at Churchill. It was a really impressive display. For him to get that close behind Maui, Strong and Plenser when held up right at the back of the field was really good. The concern is, Tom, is this race going to pan out to suit him? Because I would imagine Flavion Pratt's going to be sat at the back of the field. They tried dirt. They tried the Kentucky Derby. He was a massive eye catcher in the Derby. If he translates that form to turf, he should be second in the market here.
Yeah, I think so. But there are two concerns with him, and then we'll go into the positives after. One, as you talked about, the pace setup's probably not ideal. Secondly, horses that run in the Kentucky Derby generally just don't win for the remainder of their 3-year-old campaign. I don't know why that is. Obviously, it's such a big race, such a contest where all the trainers get their horses 100%, and then for the rest of the year, they struggle to keep them at that level. But I think Final Gambit ran well enough, and the way he races to me suggests there's always a little bit more in the tank. He's not going to fully blow out in the Derby and then and never come back and win again. So I'm not as keen on that point being a negative. More that I am keen on the pace being a negative for Final Gambit. The positives, I've said I want him back on turf since prior to running in the Kentucky Derby. He looked like a turf horse. I was surprised they went to Churchill to run in the Derby. He ran very well, so it was a good decision. But I don't think dirt actually suits him, especially given his run style.
Mm.
Turf is definitely his ideal surface for me, and it's surprising he's only had one start on it. Last time, if you're looking at that form and saying, well, he was disappointing, he was a favourite and he finished last of four, well, there was no speed in the race. He had no chance of winning. It was a terrible piece of placing from Brad Cox, which you will not hear me say very often. But I
Mm.
don't know why he was in that race. It was like a contest where he had just had no chance on paper. So I don't know why they ran there. Back on turf, in this contest with Flavien Prat, he's the most fascinating runner in the race, no question. It's just whether he's going to get the right setup.
Yeah, I would like to think Flavien Prat could maybe sit a little closer just in the circumstances, i.e., not last. I'm not saying sit close to the pace, but if he could sit midfield, that would be a big, big benefit. You also talk about last time out as well. Granted, things didn't go right, race placement, yada yada. It was against East Avenue, Burnham Square, and Cole Battle. They're three rock solid dirt horses, and then the only three horses that beat him in the Kentucky Derby were Sovereignty, Journalism, and Baeza. I mean, they're the three best 3-year-olds around this year, full stop. Maybe a few up and comers, but especially at the time, they were the three best. His form on the Tapeta was good. I think in America, American racing fans get a little bit more concerned about Tapeta form switching to turf than we do. I mean, we see it sort of happen every single week from the likes of Wolverhampton and Southall back to turf. In America, it's just a smaller pool. I
Mhm.
mean, you've got Gulfstream Park, you've got Turfway, you did have Golden Gate. I mean, there's a few others as well, but it's just something that's done less.
Yeah, for sure. Presque Downs, etc.
Yeah.
You don't really get horses that go to Presque and then go elsewhere. So the only ones we really get are Woodbine and Gulfstream that take that regular switch. I have no problem with it. I think any horse that handles all weather would generally handle the turf, so that's no issue for me.
The only horse we haven't mentioned in this is Flying Mohawk, who, to be fair, is no back number. He ran the Kentucky Derby as well. He was beaten out of sight, beaten 42 lengths. Before that, though, he did finish a good second behind Final Gambit, but in no way do I think that form will be overturned.
No, me neither. But this is another horse that's a turf animal that went on dirt for the Derby. Now, he completely blew out. So that is a bit more of a concern for me. They put blinkers on today, which means they're looking for something, maybe tactical speed from that wide post. They get Frankie on as well. I don't know. I don't think he should be 20 to 1. So, I think his price is wrong. But equally, I can't have him on top. He actually finished behind Early Adopter last year. And given you don't like Early Adopter at all, you can't like Fly Mohawk.
No, not at all. But at 20 to 1, he's more realistic from a price perspective, and he has won a couple of times on turf from the five starts. So that is the field for the Belmont Derby. 8 of them go to post. We hope that remains. We're both going to try and play the markets here because, yes, only one firm have priced it up, but others will follow. Um, you're going to go double-handed. I'm going to go single-handed. Who's your first of the two? You know what? Just do both. I don't care.
Okay, the first one is Test Score, who I think is probably the most likely winner in the race, but probably not my better bet. Test Score's around 6 to 1 at the time of recording. I love his tactical speed. I like that the Connections won this race last year with Trickery, and they're going back again with a very similar horse at this stage of their career in Test Score. I like his profile, and he doesn't have much form to find on New Century. So I think his price is the best value from a win perspective. But my other play is Final Gambit, who is undoubtedly the most fascinating horse in the race. And if he doesn't get a good kind of passage through, I'll be shocked. Even if he's last and they've got no speed, I still think he's going to be the one that is firing down the outside late, and that is generally the right move at Saratoga. I'll be disappointed if he's not in the three, and at his current price of 8 to 1, I think he's a fair each way bet. So I'll play Test Score to win only, and Final Gambit each way in this race.
I wouldn't be anti-test score each way, honestly. I think it's 6 to 1. That's fair. Albeit I'm more adverse to backing each way than you would be.
Yeah.
But I mean, 6 to 1, fifth of the odds. You're still making a bit of profit to finish in the first three. But I'm with Final Gambit as well. He's my one play in this race. Look, 8 to 1. Go take that price each way. It won't last long at all. This is where you're going to be rewarded for watching the Turf and Touchdowns podcast early and as soon as it comes out, or even live. Because if you can take that 8 to 1, I think you're going to have a very good bet come Friday evening. Keep that in mind. It's Friday, not Saturday. But I just hope Flavien Prat does it a little closer to the pace. Even so, I think he's a horse who can very much get involved. I think New Century is probably the most likely winner on ability, but I'm not sure regards to running style. But the same time, Final Gambit's in the same boat, but at 8-1, he's a far more attractive price. I think from an each way standpoint, he is very much the play. How would you approach things? Let's say someone's watching this on Thursday. The
Mhm.
prices have changed. Final Gambit's now 4-1. How would you approach things regards to him then?
I probably wouldn't be as keen on at 4-1. But to be fair, when I was pricing this race up myself, I didn't actually see the international market, and I sent you across the running order, listing the horses in the order I thought would be most interesting for the viewers. So I put Luther on top because of the European angle. Then I put Final Gambit, thinking he would be vying for favouritism, and he's not. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the traders are wrong. At 4-1, I wouldn't be as keen, but I'd still be happy to kind of row in with him, but with a smaller win play rather than the each way value play, which we definitely have right now.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I think 4-1 is probably as short as I'd go, maybe 7-2, but I wouldn't go any shorter than that. But at 8-1, I think you're getting immense value on Final Gambit. That is us done for the week. If you enjoyed this podcast, why not come back next week? Or better still, later on in the week, we're going to be recording NFL content on Thursday. If you subscribe to us, you'll be notified whenever we upload that NFL content. And next week, we're back with more horse racing action. By the way, Tom, it's like 9 weeks until NFL starts.
Oh no, I cannot wait. We've got 8 weeks of Saratoga, so like perfectly leads us into the NFL season. It's a good time to be alive.
It could not be any better. Could not be any better. Albeit, I cannot wait for the rain that we're meant to have tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say it can be better. I am literally sopping.
I've been sat here for a lot of the shows going like, or just air myself out. Just this is horrific. But that is the Belmont Derby Invitational done. Please subscribe to us. Leave a comment with who you like down below. And how many grapes do you think you could eat in 1 minute as well? That is a big pressing point in the brain of Luke this week. But best of luck whichever way you are playing things. Regards to the Belmont Derby, go check out the guys at Iron Horse Stallions. We'll leave the link in the description down below. Until Thursday, until next week, whether you like NFL, whether you like horse racing, stay safe, look after other. Goodbye.